before we get on to the serious topic, which is the online harms bill brought to us by the Liberal Party of Canada. Now, I'm going to take a look at a couple of articles. A few tabs opened up here. I would like to read the articles with you. And then we're going to go through some of the actual text of the bill itself and a couple of locations and just see what is going on with that. Under the, I don't want to say under the, well, under the guise of safety for children online and restricting the sexualizing of children online and access to, we'll call it prawn, so the algos don't pull me video offline. But it's very interesting that you can sexualize children in schools with books and with story times and all these things. But God forbid they go on. No, I'm not advocating for prawn online for kids. I'm just saying that, we want to protect kids. We want to make sure they're safe online, but in real life, we won't spare them the knife. We won't spare them the puberty blockers. We won't spare them the castration chemicals. It seems very backwards to me. Of course, if you take them at face value, it seems very backwards. But when you understand that their ideology and that their true end game isn't really for children's safety at all, you can kind of start to understand what is going on here. So anyways, let's take a look at some of the articles here that have been written this week about this coming online harms bill. And we're going to talk about where it is in terms of being passed, if it's going to be passed and what that process looks like. And we're going to talk again, like I said, about some of the text of the actual bill. So, okay, where are we? So this was February 21st. This was written. Conservative government would require websites to verify age to watch prawn. So that's from Pierre Poilievre, Canada's Conservative Party leader. If you can call them a conservative in name, maybe only. Oh yeah, so in the US they have rhinos, which is Republican in name only. So I thought the term coin would be good for Canadians. So we'd have conservatives only in name. So yeah, there you go. Coin, you can use that. That one's a freebie for you. A future conservative government would change the law to require that prawn websites verify the age of users to prevent minors from accessing the content, opposition leader Pierre Poilievre signaled on Wednesday. When asked whether his government would require prawn websites to verify the age of users, Poilievre gave a one-word answer: yes. He didn't offer further explanation, and his office quickly followed up with a clarifying statement asserting that the Tories, i.e. the Conservatives here, don't believe in the imposition of a digital ID. So we're going to verify age somehow, but we're not going to impose a digital ID. The Tories are sponsoring and supporting a Senate private members bill that promises to require age verification for people to access prawn online. And that is called Bill S-210. Bill S-210 passed in the Senate in the spring, and New Democrats, Bloc Québécois, and Conservative MPs, so these kind of make up our House of Commons for those not familiar with Canadian politics. Our House of Commons is kind of the political house that rules over all, and voted to send it to House of Commons Committee for study. No such meetings have been scheduled yet. So we're going to look at it. We're going to see how we can do this. We're going to study it, get some committee together, and have a little chinwag about that. The proposed law would require websites to verify users' ages before they can access sexually explicit content, and it would penalize sites that don't comply. But it does not specify how that would be done. Options could include the use of a digital government ID, as some U.S. states have legislated, or services that can estimate age based on a scan of a person's face. Awesome! Digital ID, facial recognition. We are well on our way. We'll get into this later, but I as a father of my stepson and then two small school-age children, I want to protect them. I want to protect them from anything that would harm them. And of course, a bill that proposes this would be probably widely adopted, but what else are they going to try to sneak in the text of that bill? And we're going to look at that later. Anyway, such suggestions have prompted widespread concern from privacy experts about their overarching impacts, from the risks associated with asking Canadians to share personal information with an external provider to the use of measures such as facial recognition technology. I will say, just as an aside, a lot of people worrying about digital IDs, and I'm one of them. Don't get me wrong. To get verified on X, I had to submit my photo ID for them to scan, and LinkedIn has the same sort of thing. So there's a lot of this already existing, but when it starts being tied to medical information, tied to financial information, when you kind of have everything all in one, that starts to worry me. And that is also, of course, where Elon Musk wants to take X as an all-in-one app. So, the verdict on Elon still out for me. But anyways, just a thought there in terms of digital ID. Sebastian Skamsky, a spokesperson for Polyev, said shortly after the leader's remarks Wednesday that conservatives do not support any measures that would allow the imposition of a digital ID or infringe on the privacy of adults and their freedom to access legal content online. Okay, I don't know how they're going to do that. Maybe they'll have to implement AI somehow. The bill making its way, through Parliament was introduced by Senator Julie Miville-Deschênes, forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, an independent senators group member. Conservative Ontario MP Karen Vecchio is sponsoring the bill in the House of Commons. In a speech to the Commons in November, Vecchio said there should be no direct collection of identity documentation by the site publisher from the prawn site, no age estimates based on the user's web browser history, and no processing of biometric data for the purpose of uniquely identifying or authenticating a natural person. So we're going to verify your age as long as we don't know who you actually are. I don't know how they're going to do that. In my youthful troublemaking days, when I would want to access naughty content, there was a box that you could check that you could verify your age. It was like an honor system. So, what do we have here? Yeah, it was honor system. So, I don't know what they're going to do to make that better. The Conservatives have not proposed any alternatives for how prawn sites could verify users without such systems. Exactly what I was just saying there. Some websites that feature adult content, alcohol, or cannabis currently ask for users' age to enter the website. I wish, by the way, this is my first time reading this article, but like I just said, they have some way to verify, but they don't verify and rely on an honor system approach, is what we just talked about. Absolutely. The Liberals were the only ones to vote against the bill in the House. Surprise, surprise, saying it doesn't do enough to protect children. And promising pending online harms legislation will offer a more comprehensive suite of policies on child safety. The guise of child safety. And if you attack their legislation in any way, they're going to point to you and say, you don't want children to be safe. You don't want to protect children. How dare you want to harm children? And this is so sinister. The company that owns Pornhub, which is oh my goodness, MindGeek. I think it's called MindGeek, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, somewhere out there in the comments. By the way, guys, please do put your comments down. I will be reading them today as I see them. Let me just actually go back here. I'll put your comments on the screen. All right. Okay, here we go. The company that owns Pornhub, which I think again is MindGeek, recently told the Canadian press that blocking access to Canadians is among its options it would consider if the Senate bill passes. Now, I'm not going to argue or not going to complain about prawn sites being blocked because I think it really just that may actually be a good thing for Canada if they block that type of content, sexual content from Canadians. It's that balance between. I obviously am pro free speech. I am a free speech absolutist, and I mean free speech absolutist. You should be able to say anything, but you should be able to smoke cigarettes too. You should be able to drink alcohol. You should be able to do all the things you want to do, but a lot of them are very harmful for you. So I mean, if it was made illegal, you wouldn't hear me complaining. But it would just join like news links in Canada. We already don't get news on meta sites like Facebook or Instagram, and Google's talking about blocking news sites because of, again, our wonderful Liberal Party of Canada and their they're dishonest attempts to basically crack down on freedom of speech by their online internet policies, we'll say. Anyways, I digress. Similar laws requiring internet prawn sites to verify users' age have been passed in several U.S. states after Louisiana required that a government ID be used to access prawn hub. Traffic took a nosedive. No shit. The company is fighting the bill and argues any regulations that require sites to collect significant amounts of highly sensitive personal information will put user safety in jeopardy. Yes. How many sites have been hacked? I use a VPN. I use a password manager, which scans the dark web to see if my information has been uploaded there so I can change passwords, update emails, stuff like that. Happens all the time. By the way, our own government, CRA, has been hacked how many times now? How many people's personal, financial, and tax information has been leaked or has been gathered by some unknown third party that hacked into the database? If our own government's not going to protect our own tax information, the Canada Revenue Agency, I don't know how they're going to do this. But anyways, an executive with Ethical Capital Partners, which owns Prawn Hub's parent company, ILO. Okay, so maybe it wasn't MindGeek, ILO, said it would prefer an approach that would verify users' age through a device such as their smartphone, which is just like another way around a digital ID. Like you're basically carrying around a digital ID in your hand here, right? This is my digital ID. Everything, all my online activities logged on here. They know who I am. No matter how careful you are, I think they know who you are.